Today we're checking out Spider-Man's Doc Ock and Aunt May. Let's jump right in. Starting out on the side panel, we have some more of the same artwork, just in different cells. On the other side panel, we've got the number 1 and number 2 VHS style artwork. And on the back, Doc Ock and Aunt May figure shots. All right, let's get them up. All right, side by side with Aunt May and Doc Ock. Immediate impressions, I love the color tones in hand with these figures. It really does look like cartoon style animation colors that you might have seen on a TV set. Really, really nice. I'm digging the purple on Aunt May. Really feel that blue and purple combo. It looks really nice also. Her tie is not the exact match for her dress, but that's okay. It's still a nice, bright, vibrant purple. And she is really straightforward. The jacket does have a little bit of move to it, but it does not open up. Her dress really is going to limit articulation, but she does have double jointed knees. She's got a really good rocker. Since she is dressed in business attire, the heels make total sense. So just a comment on that. And they look really, really nice. They're a great match for her dress, I must say. Close look at Aunt May's face portrait, and that is one very mature senior Aunt May. She does come with an additional pair of hands. And I'll give you a close look at that. Horizontal hinges. And that is our Aunt May figure. All right, close up with Doc Ock. I like the fact that this upper armor piece isn't shiny. It's not glossy. It's totally matted. Really nice. The orange also has that very cartoonish tone to it. I'm really digging all of it. I like the sculpting on the face. Really intense. Nice haircut. Really great sculpting there along the cheekbones and the jaw. He looks great. I like the purple streaks there on the shades. Really dope. Really nice. Overall, I'm feeling the deco from top to bottom. Articulation-wise, the shoulders are going to be hindered because of the armor, which is mostly stiff. You do have swivel at the bicep, and that is pinless. No swivel at the forearm, swivel at the wrists, and this left side is horizontal. On the right side, the hand is vertical hinged, so that's really cool. At the waist, no ab crunch, but you've got like a ball hinge there, or a ball peg that gives you some good tilt to either side. Not much back, because this back attachment is caught by the belt, and minimal forward crunch. You know, with the tilt, you can get a little side tilting action, but not much. At the legs, we have swivel at the thigh, an outstanding split. Really great kick forward. Decent kick back. I mean, that's a Michael Jordan level forward back split. Really cool. No boot cut. Generous rocker. Really generous toe down. That's impressive. Pretty decent toe up. So good articulation on our Doc Ock. We've got his tentacles. And as you can see on the cover of the box, and I'll show you again here, you've got two that are closed claw, and the claw does swivel. And you have two that are open claw, and they also swivel. And there's no hole in the center of the claw, in case you were wondering. And just like that, you've got Aunt May ensnared in Doc Ock's grasp. How dope is that? The tentacles are super bendy. It seems like it's one long wire all the way throughout, so you can get really decent articulation even within that last 1.5 inches of the wire to get a really tight loop. You know, so that's pretty impressive. And you can do some pretty decent spirals, as you see with those two. She slipped out there, but, you know, she's ready to escape anyway. And you really get some great movement with them. You can bend the tentacle so that it is appearing like it's driving down into the floor. Dope. You got some great action in it, not like the other Doc Ock that we got last year. And we're going to take a close look at that right now, as a matter of fact. Let's do it right now. All right, a nice side-by-side of our two Doc Ocks. We see the deeper color tones here, and you can get a really nice side-by-side of what makes this a more animated, cel-shaded look because of the way the colors are more muted. Very, very nice. Loving it. I am a big fan of the sculpting and just the overall proportions of this Doc Ock. I think both face portraits are really, really tough. As you can see here on the tentacles, right side by side, you've got more of a metallic finish here, a steel metallic, whereas this is a more light gray. In the back, you got a really nice look at the mechanisms that are being used for attaching the tentacles. These tentacles seem longer. I'll give you a direct comparison of it, but just here looking at them as they're attached, they seem longer. And I highlight that because I think they could have gone with this mechanism, just ports to insert them. And since they're so bendy, I think it would have worked just fine. But I do prefer that mechanism overall. And as we saw, this does hinder his ability to arch back because it connects with the belt. So very interesting there. Let's take off some tentacles and see the difference in the bendiness and also see the side-by-side length. All right. So first, really quickly, a look at the pegs. And to the eye, this peg seems about the same thickness. So we might get them to swap onto each other. Not really sure. We'll take a look at that. But just side by side, lengthwise, the new Ock has a much longer tentacle. Last year's release has this permanent arch in the tentacle. This year's release, you can pretty much straighten it out and do whatever you want with it. Here at the tip, like I mentioned, you could get a really tight curl, right? So that is so chill. And in terms of swapping it, let's see, the new one into the previous release. So that's good. And there's a certain stiffness there, so it'll work if you want to swap them out. And on this side, on the new Doc Ock, the old tentacle doesn't have as tight a secure lock. It fits, but the lock isn't secure, so it'll wobble out. I am digging these tentacles. They're super dynamic, and as you saw, we can get him carrying Aunt May. Let's take a look at him elevating his own body weight on the tentacles, and then we'll jump into today's theme comparison. All right, and he is completely suspended here on all four tentacles. There is clearance here in the back on that side, clearance here in the back on that side. He's not leaning or wedged up against the diorama. And here in the front, he's not wedged on anything. The tentacles will hold, and that is super cool. I've seen pictures in social media groups where he is balanced on 3 legs and carrying Aunt May on 1 tentacle. This figure is pretty awesome. He is pretty awesome. I am feeling the animated cel-shaded figures in general, and I like where we're going now with the Spider-Man villains. So very cool. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and jump right into today's themed comparison. And first off, I'll bring out a couple of Spidey figures so we can get some size comparisons. And I'll bring out this cel-shaded animated Spider-Man because of course we gotta bring out cel-shaded first, right? I'll also bring out the highly controversial but highly awesome, in my opinion. I love this figure, the Gamerverse Spider-Man 2, and he is a taller figure Spider-Man with all the modern engineered parts. So very cool. And you see he's a little taller than this Doc Ock. Very nice. And to wrap up today, I'm going to go ahead and bring out some of my classic Spider-Man villains. I will bring out Kingpin. And I love this figure. One of the first figures I got when I started collecting again back in 2020. And as soon as I saw him online, I was like, man, he's so cool. I'm glad I picked him up because he sold out quick. Dope fig. Shocker figure. Another cool throwback Spider-Man villain. Scorpion. And this guy has an awesome bendy wire also. And last but not least for today, I'll bring out my Hobgoblin figure. Final thoughts on Doc Ock and Aunt May. I love them. I think she's a really unique figure. I really dig the civilian outfitted Marvel Legends figure, and I think she's a great all-time classic to have in your collection in terms of your Spider-Man universe. So really digging her. And in terms of the presentation on Doc Ock, I love it. I'm loving the cell shaded animated style that they're going with right now, and I'm excited to see how deep they go with in the Spider-Man universe. So heck yeah, a lot of fun. Highly recommend this figure. Super dope tentacles. As always, everybody, thank you so much for coming out to sharing the experience of collecting toys as an adult, and I hope you're able to keep coming back and share some experiences too. Until next time, everybody, thank goodness it's playtime.